How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin back with another video. We're getting ready to heat this pipe up to bend it. He's using this little box. What's this thing called?
Heat box.
Heat box. We need to get that pipe bent for the breaker box over there. We're about 2 inches off, I think. Maybe not quite 2 inches. And all he's doing now is rolling it in there and heating it up. Yeah, I'm kind of worried about it not being... You tell me where you want water.
Go ahead, spray it on that part. Yep. Spray it on there. God damn, that fucker's hot. Alright, spray it.
Won't be able to catch it.
Let's spray it.
Well, I've been doing a pretty good job of getting all this on video. Of course, this we didn't get it all. But as you can see, he bent the pipe perfect so we can get that 1/2 inch drywall on there. So now all we gotta do is get our wire run through there and start throwing breakers in. We're getting ready to pull the cable to the power pole. As you can see, I got the truck backed up here. And we have some 3/8 line, yellow line here. It's nylon line coming out of there. And that's what we're going to use to pull the wire through. Now, as you can see, I got the wire strung out on the ground here. So hopefully, whoever's on the inside here can just kind of pull it straight into the house. It'll be all straightened out. They ain't got to worry about unrolling it or it getting tangled up or anything. And here's how it is on the inside. Now, we got some tape around that end, really good. We got some nice loops there that will tighten as we pull. I think I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops. And those will tighten as we pull. Now I have some of this gel. It's for this job here we're doing. Right here. We're kind of letting it warm up a little bit. And we're going to use that to help us pull it. And our main place is very end up there. I couldn't find a sweep. Nobody had a sweep, so we got a 90. We got to get through that 90, and I'm just hoping we can do it. I think if we lube up this cable good, at least weighs the first 10 or so feet, we should be able to get it around there. I sure hope so. I know it's going to be tough, but we'll get it one way or another. So it's going to be a tough job. We're just waiting on the guys to get here to give us a hand. I got a couple guys coming that's going to give us a hand, Julie and I, pulling that through. So I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, we're getting ready to pull the cord. I got Justin out there. He's going to pull. I'm going to push for now. And we're going to see if we can get this guy in, which I don't know if we can or not. But we're going to do the best we can. Okay, the wire is in. 2 of us pulled it. Actually, Justin pulled, my son Justin pulled, and Julie and I got it in there, and we're all the way up into the box out here. We did put a little bit of that lube in there, and that helped. And down at that corner, we only had 190 in that whole thing, so, and the other one was a sweep. It worked out pretty good. Just when he got to the corner, we got to that elbow, I pulled it back, and we both pushed and pulled at the same time, and it worked out really well. Had me a little bit worried that it wouldn't go through, but it did, and right there we are, plenty of cord to work with. Awesome. Now we're going to get the wiring in the garage or in the house. We're going to go ahead and put the breaker panel in and get that thing set up so we can hook these wires up and get that covered up out there. It's getting cold. Got to get it done. Okay, I have this all wired up. This is on the inside of the house. We're going to make sure our breaker is turned off. And now we're going to have to go out and we're going to hook it up on the pole out there. Now, once we hook it up on that pole and turn it on, we're going to have power over here in this one. But we want to make sure we're really careful and keep that breaker off. So we'll be okay putting everything in there. We just have to be careful, that's all. All right, let's get out here and get the outside one wired up. Okay, I'm starting to work on the panel now, and what I'm doing is I'm putting in these arc fault breakers. This is an arc fault breaker. It's in CAFCI. Just an arc fault breaker. You know, I had a couple questions here. I just got off the phone with my the inspector. And I was curious because every breaker box I ever did, I haven't done breakers for a few years for other people. They didn't have these when I used to do breaker boxes, when I used to mount these in for people. So I noticed it had a little pigtail coming out the back of it. It's a neutral. So instead of taking your neutral to a neutral bar, you're going to plug your neutral into the breaker. And my question was, you know, years ago when I did a lot of wiring and stuff, you had a ground bar and you had a neutral bar. All your grounds would go over and hook into the ground bar, and all your neutrals would go over and hook into the neutral bar. So I had a question for him. I'm like, you know, these are on both sides and they have to be hooked in here. So where does the ground and the neutral, can I just plug them into the same one? And he told me, yeah, you can plug them into the same one. Well, I'm not used to this type, you know, so that was new to me. So I'm going to give you a little peek in here and show you what I've been doing and show you how I'm running the wires. Now, I like to do as neat a job as I possibly can. I mean, it is your breaker box, and you want to be able to trace these wires up. It's a little tough. You get a good bit. I don't want a rat's nest in my box. I want it to look neat, and these little wires, these little pigtails, kind of make it look like a rat's nest. But they're supposed to be really safe and good. If you screw a nail or you put a drywall screw through one of these, it's not going to kick on, which is nice. I mean, you don't want to burn your house down. And they say these are really good. So we have every one of these, and I'm just doing 20 amp breakers and the whole entire thing. I don't want to overload anything, so I think 20 amp will do whatever I need to do on each one. So let me show you what I'm doing here. Let me show you up close. I think I'm doing a pretty neat job. Let's look for yourself. So here is your neutral. I'll try to see them down in there. You got a neutral right here, and it goes into this bar right here. And my ground is right there, hooked into the same bar. So, you know, that I didn't think was supposed to be before, but obviously that's what you're supposed to do now. So let's go. This is what my wires look like in my panel. I kind of tucked them back in here nice and tight. I don't want to, you know, make them too tight, but yet I don't want them flopping around in there. And we have 3 breakers in there now. I mean, this ball of wires is going to get bigger and bigger as we go up, but still they're out of the way and you can see what you're doing. I mean, if you had to trace one of these wires, you could pull it out of there and trace it up there pretty easily. So that's the arc fault breaker, and that's what we're working on now. We have, I have about 12 of them. I think I'm gonna need a couple more, probably 3 more at least. So I don't want to sit here and wire up this thing and do it all on video, so I'm going to show you bits and pieces as I'm going, because I'm not a certified electrician. I'm just like any one of yous, trying to do a neat job and keep my house safe. So once I get some more of this done, we'll come back in here and I'll show you some more. All right, so we got all of our breakers in now. Everything's been wired up. I think it looks pretty neat in there. I think it looks okay. It's not perfect, but I think it looks pretty good. Right now, I'm working on this ground wire going down through here. Comes out the bottom, goes down, and right outside the wall. I'll go out there and show you what I'm doing out there. Okay, so right here is where that wire comes out. I'm going to put some silicone on there, some sealer on there. Now, if you remember, this rod right here is the rod that's tied inside the floor in the concrete to the wire. 8 feet goes in there. Looks like 7.5 feet. I got about 6 inches out here, but about 7.5 feet is wired to the floor where the wire is in the concrete. And then I just beat in one 8-foot ground rod there, and it just continues going down. And about 6 feet away over here, I have another 8-foot ground rod in there, and my copper goes between both of them. So we got 3 grounds in here, one going through the floor and 2 8 feet in the ground. I think that should be good enough, I hope. So I got to finish beating that rod there in. I use this thing here, and it sure does make a difference for beating them fence posts in, them T-posts. That thing really works good. And that got it down to about there. So all I got to do now is just sit down there with the hammer and get it the rest of the way in. All right, we have all the electricity in that I could think of. I think we're pretty good. As you can see, we started there. We got everything tidied up real nice and neat. Right down through there. And I did go around, and Julie and I cleaned all the wood chips up where we drilled all the holes. So hopefully it looks like a pretty neat job. Inspector came and inspected the house for the wiring, and that's one of the reasons why I don't do a lot of this wiring on video, is because I don't know if I'm right or not. Now, I did have a young man coming in here helping me, telling me what I can and cannot do, but obviously he didn't know a lot about what he was doing. So I have a few things to change, and one of them was this box, all these little curly wires. We're going to be putting a neutral in the neutral bar and the grounds in the ground bar, and that's the way I always done it before. And I did call the inspector, and he did tell me on the phone to do this, but he said, oh, you can do it in another box, but you can't do it in this box. So that's what I got to do now. Now I got to take all the white ones to bring over to here, and all the neutral or the grounds to put on the other side. So it's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but I guess he didn't know what I was talking about, so he come in and told me I got to change everything. And you guys know on that video, I said I was not used to doing it that way. So I didn't think it was right, but I guess it wasn't right. So we're going to change a couple things here, and then we need to change out one box in the ceiling that has to be a ceiling fan box. Although I got the heaviest box, I think, made to mankind, but I guess it's not right. So we're going to have to change it out. And then a couple other little things. We got one box in the kitchen that's actually feeding the bathroom. That box has to be taken off. There's a few things we got to do, like the lights in the kitchen can't be on the same circuit as the kitchen. So we got a few things, not much, but I think there is nothing here we can't take care of. In probably a day or two, we should have it all tidied up, and give him a call back and see if he'll come back out and re-inspect it. So that's what we're doing right now. We did get some of the plumbing done. We messed around a little bit with the plumbing, but didn't get much of it. I'm going to try to get this electric done so we can get it out of the way, while it's still fresh in my mind what he wants done. So right now, it's just basically I got 3 more wires to do. Makes my box look bad, but oh well, that's what he wants, that's what we'll give him. So we'll do our best to make it look nice and neat. So I'll get you guys back in here and get this stuff tidied up. Okay, the electrical inspection didn't go quite as well as I thought it would. We had quite a few issues with different parts of the electrical system. And I'm not going to put the blame on anybody. It's my house. I'm the one that's doing it, so let's just put the blame on me. Some of the things I'm going to tell you what failed, and I'll let you know. And just in case you're doing this type of build, maybe this will help you up too. The first one was the breakers. In this inside panel, you want all the white on the neutral and all the ground on the ground bar. Okay, I don't know how that went down, but I haven't never used these kind of, these are called arc fault breakers. I've never used them before. Wasn't sure how they worked. So we got that taken care of. I'll give you a little close up on that. We'll go around and I'll tell you what all was wrong and show you that I fixed it. Okay, when you come to your panel, this is inside the house. Make sure all your ground are on this side. Whatever side your ground is coming in, your green and your ground wire from outside, you want all your copper wires on this side. All your white wires on this side. You'll see this wire coming in has a white wire, a white line on it. This is your neutral. So you want all the white ones on there. So now you have these little spring-like things on here, on your arc fault. They're over here. So when you're doing these, just go ahead and bring it up as far as you can, put a wire nut on it, and then take it the rest of the way over. Regardless, I'd have never got out of this. Having these here, wire nuts, you're gonna have to put them in because those wires are not long enough to reach the other side. So we got that taken care of. That was one issue that we had. Another issue that we had, I knew that I needed 2 circuits in the kitchen. I was okay with that. So this circuit here came over and fed that outlet there, this outlet, and that outlet. Well, on that outlet, I had a little switch because Julie likes to put them little LED lights above the cabinet. So I put a switch and I run a light or an outlet there and an outlet way over here on the other side, the top of the cabinets, right there. Well, that switch cannot be on that circuit. You cannot have that switch running them outlets up there. You can't have it. So I took this back to the, I took that outlet off up there and I ran this wire up and across and came down and I stopped right here because this was another issue, this one right here. So it comes up and feeds that one. So I got that taken care of. Now, the 2 little switch, or the 2 little outlets, that one up there and that one up there above her cabinets, are now worked off of this switch. So she'll be able to flip a switch right here, and she can flip a switch right here, and it'll turn them on top of the cabinets on, or flip the switch here, and the little closet will come on. And when I came over to this run behind the sink, I had that outlet, and that box on there. Well, guess what? We can't have this box running off of that. This runs my outside light, the light above the kitchen sink, and the kitchen lights. So we had to take this all the way off. So I took this all the way off and run a separate wire over, up. It goes all the way up, across the ceiling, and runs into this box right here. So now it's feeding off of this box. So these lights and all them lights are on one circuit now. And it actually has the outside outlet out here on it too. That one cannot be on your kitchen. Even though it's in the kitchen or off the kitchen, it can't be run on it. So I've taken care of that. Now, the other issue I had was I put a 20 amp breaker in for these hall lights and stuff. And I have a 14.3 wire here. That can't be in there, he said. Anything 14.3 has to be on a 15 amp breaker. So I just changed the breaker out for this run here. I just changed that breaker out. So I got that taken care of. Let me see. Oh, another issue I had put a ceiling fan. I wanted a ceiling fan in my ceiling. I wanted a ceiling fan in there. Right there. Okay? Wanted a ceiling fan because we're going to build that beam. Now, he says that has to be a ceiling fan box. It can't be any other box but a ceiling fan box. The only problem with a ceiling fan box is the way they mount up. They're not made to mount inside of a beam. But mine's going to be mounted inside of a beam. Now, that is a ceiling fan box. That's what he asked for. That's what I give him. Now, I swear to you, I could have pulled a motor on my box, but I sure wouldn't pull a motor on that box. There's no way. But I did what he asked me to do. So we got that taken care of. Now we had an issue in here. I had a junction box. I had a junction box right there. And he said it would be in the insulation, can't use it. So I took it out all the way. I put a new piece of 12.3 wire in there. So that could be run on a 20 amp breaker, and I don't have to worry about that junction box up there. I've taken care of that. Then he says he wants disconnects for these hot water tanks. Now, you can see my breaker box right there. It's not 50 feet, but you can't see it when the walls are up. So if you can't see your breaker box, even though it's less than 50 feet, you got to have disconnects on all these. So I put this disconnect in for the floor and this one in for the on-demand hot water. Okay, now another thing. Outside here, this box right here, you see that electrical box? I had a flat face on there, a metal flat face. The reason why I put a metal flat face in there is because I know when somebody walks down through here, or we're running a machine down through here, or something, this is just plastic, it's probably going to get knocked off. I put a metal one on there, flat one, didn't like it, so I had to put that one on there. So I give him what he asked for. I'm sure that'll get knocked off later. So, but it's there. Hopefully it'll pass inspection. Now, when I came to the washing machine, I put the outlet down here for the wash machine. Well, I can't have an outlet down there without having it on GFI. So I was going to put a GFI in here, but he said it has to be where you can reach it. Well, I thought you was only allowed to have one receptacle on that line, but obviously you're allowed to have two. Because he wanted the GFI up here. That way if it kicks down there, you can reach it. Right here. Makes sense. But I didn't know you could do it. So when you fail, they give you this paper. This is from Macmillan. They're the one that's doing my inspections. When it fails, they write down on here what they want to see changed, and then you change it. So I think I did all of everything he asked me to do, and then some. Some of that wasn't even wrote down on this, and I did it anyhow. It doesn't matter. I want it done, and I want it done right, and I want it done safe. So hopefully, I called the inspector. Hopefully when he gets back, hopefully we get an okay on the electric. Everything we do has to be done to code. And if you don't know code, you're going to struggle. That's just the way it is. You have to have them code books and do your best. Now, I had code books and I still failed the inspection on the electrical, plus I hired an electrician, which I probably shouldn't have. I probably just should have done it myself and just kept looking at the book. Okay, just a little while later after I spoke to you guys, the inspector called. He actually texted me and asked if he could come over and have a look at the house. And I said, sure. He come over. Everything passed with flying colors. We're in good shape. So now it's just got to get the plumbing inspected. we're not quite done with the plumbing, but I don't think I'm that far off from having it done. So hopefully we can get it to pass inspection. Then we go on to the insulation. So the insulation is another whole story, but I might have mentioned that to you guys anyhow.